No, baby, that's for somebody else. We're just gonna keep you right where you're at right now.
It doesn't matter what you think.
The Wrestling Realm presents Break It Down with Brian H. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this episode of Break It Down with Brian H. I'm your host, Brian H. Waters. Wow. Did you ever think that you would hear that theme song again? I mean, just listen to it. For many people out there, I know it is music to your very ears, folks. I'm gonna just let you listen. Yes, folks, CM Punk back on WWE programming. Maybe not the way that we want immediately. Maybe not in a ring immediately, but for now, he's back, folks. CM Punk will be part-time on WWE Backstage. Now, I'll admit, I have not been highly invested in this show. No disrespect, it just hasn't really caught my attention, to be honest with you. But, this is right here is a game changer. Because we know Punk is very opinionated. We know that he's going to have a lot to say. So, what could he possibly say about the business right now? And let's see, this is a little bit loud, so let me turn this down. But yeah, we know he's, highly opinionated. We know he's going to have a lot to say. So that's what I'm looking forward to. So, full disclaimer, as you guys know, I've been on the road for my loyal listeners. So I was in Atlanta. I actually made a pit stop home. I'm in Baltimore right now. But, I'll be honest with you, I ain't feel like setting up the camera because I had to break it down. So, I said, you know what? I'm doing just the traditional podcast, still available on all platforms. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can still catch it on Spotify. Or if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you can still watch the YouTube version. But I said, let me go ahead and, I was in Atlanta. I was actually fell asleep. I actually had a chance to watch a little bit of Impact Wrestling. Now, I'm not going to get into many details because, to be honest with you, I fell asleep. Long day at work. But I woke up, and I'm thinking, I was like, wow, is it time to get up? No, it was only 11:50 or maybe 12 o'clock midnight. And my boy Blake from the Three Dope Dudes and the Mic podcast texted me, said, CM Punk just showed up on WWE Backstage. So as I wipe the cobwebs out of my eyes, I pull up the Twitter machine. And what do I see? I see the clip. Actually, correction. In my, in my group chat, the click, shout out to Dre, Hugh, Roger, D, and the real Dwayne Allen. I saw it was either D or Roger had posted the Twitter link. So that's why I saw it. And I watched it. I said, oh, this is interesting. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go take you right there to it. Here it is.
Great show. Yeah. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about WWE. We like to have those iconic history-making moments in WWE.
Yes.
It makes us all fans. So I think it's time that we start doing some of our own right here on WWE Backstage. You guys in?
Yeah, all
right.
Yeah, what are we doing?
In
I feel like this
3,
is a surprise.
2, 1. Whoa! No way!
Is this a rip? Is this a rip? Oh my God! Holy crap! You guys don't want me to cuss and you do this?
Yeah!
Come on!
Wow. I knew this.
Wow. No idea.
That's awesome. All right, welcome. Welcome home.
Yes, well.
It's as simple as this. Just when they think they got the answers, I change the culture.
Ah!
I'll see you here next week.
Yeah!
So there it is, right? CM Punk making his return. Now, I know for some of the gamers out there, it's like, why couldn't he come back sooner so we could get him on a video game? But nonetheless, I said, wow, You know, Punk is back. We heard about this. You know, he's talked about it. So, was it as big of a surprise? No. But sometimes when you know something is coming, you still get excited about it. You know, you still get like, wow, okay, this is real. This is happening. It's kind of like back in 2014 when Sting was introduced on the video game. You know, we knew that he was coming back, but when he showed up at Survivor Series, it was still a big deal. And that's what this was, folks. So, you know, it was at the end of the show. It broke the internet. You had Seth Rollins coming out there tweeting, "Fight me." You had Bray Wyatt showing stuff. So, obviously, a lot of people want to see matches. Now, Punk has gone on radio shows and said he has no desire to get physical again. He's done. Here is the thing. Never trust anybody in wrestling. Signed, The Real Dwayne Allen. These guys will do whatever they can to protect the business. I mean, remember, Kevin Nash said things like he would never be back. He comes back. Jericho, he says it all the time. He was done. You know. So, it's the thing, you know. You look at it and you're like, yeah, Punk is saying it, but is he really? So I thought about it. And so I thought about some matches. And I want to know, what do you guys think? What are some matches you want to see from CM Punk? So I'll start off. Obviously, I want CM Punk and Daniel Bryan in a huge program again. We got it before, but Daniel Bryan has evolved so much since. That's a given. I want CM Punk and Samoa Joe. We know the history. The wrestling fans know the history, but the kids don't know the history. The story that these two could tell. I want CM Punk and Adam Cole. I want CM Punk and Roderick Strong. I want CM Punk and Finn Balor. I want CM Punk and Seth Rollins. Now, sure, we got that. They had an incredible match years ago. Again, Seth Rollins has evolved. Can you imagine CM Punk and Baron Corbin? As much as people may not like him, this guy's gotten so much better. Could you imagine that? CM Punk and Shinsuke Nakamura. You know, so there's a lot of people. Too bad Hideo Itami's gone. So those are some of the matches that I would like to see. But you know, we'll find out one step at a time. I know wrestling fans are excited. You know, you got some people saying he's a sellout. Those are probably the ones who are thinking that AEW is going to take over WWE. I'm gonna be honest with you. Those are the ones that's, you know, they want to be anti WWE because they think it's so cool. But you know, shut up. I'll just leave it at that. But we have one wrestler making his return. Then we transition to a wrestler going on social media and quitting. Here's a wrestler. The name ACH. Don't forget the Super. Formerly known as Jordan Miles. Now we know about that situation. We discussed it right here on the Wrestling Realm. It's interesting, folks. It's very interesting. You know, ACH, it's a lot. And you know, I'm not going to play that clip here just because I like to keep this show with as least amount of profanity as possible. I like to make it for the kids. You know, the Wrestling Realm YouTube channel is kid friendly. The Real Dwayne Allen and I, we, you know, try to keep it kid friendly. You know, my son, who's 10 years old, has told me that he's had some of his friends watch some of the content. So I'd like to keep it that way. But you know where to find it. But nonetheless, it's official, I guess. I don't know. But he said he quit. He'll never work for that company. I hope he gets the help that he needs if that's the case. But I hope, most importantly, that he is happy with his decision. He did what's best for him. He wants to wrestle. He says he's going to wrestle. This is just the beginning. So I would love to see him wrestle again. I think everybody sees AEW, you know. But who knows? You never know. let's move on. Let's actually talk. Let's get into some wrestling, right? So this past week, we all know Cody Rhodes ineligible to wrestle for the AEW Heavyweight Championship again. Chris Jericho and MJF, they had an interesting exchange of words, which led to them talking about agreeing that Cody Rhodes was just something below them in so many words. And then that would lead to Cody coming out there and attacking him. And then Wardlow came and attacked Cody. So this was interesting fallout to what happened. It's no immediate word yet if MJF is in the inner circle. If you watch Chris Jericho's media scrum after retaining the championship, it was phenomenal. You saw Jericho in Jericho form. Shout out to my boy at the Big Gold Belt podcast. Sound like I recognize his voice, Najir, and if it wasn't, wow, shame on me. But I listened to the show enough that I'm like, yeah, that's Najir right there. Oh, excuse me, 2 Chainz. He asked him about the particular bubbly, but they also asked about would there be a woman in the inner circle, and he said if she fits. And people out there they're looking at maybe somebody like a B. Priestley, perhaps a Nyla Rose. Personally, I would throw Britt Baker in there. Turn your heel. I think she would fit perfect. I think that the dentist should be a heel. She's going out there. She's going to knock teeth out. So what I would do, the way I look at it is, you want to knock somebody's teeth out and then make them pay you to get it back. That's a heel tactic. I said one thing I had an issue with the match, that she didn't hold on to her finisher about 30 seconds longer. It was an incredible match. To my understanding, either her or B. Priestley had to leave early. So that's the reason why I was moved to the pre-show. But I know I was heavy invested in that feud. So, we'll see. Hangman Adam Page had a rubber match with Pac, and he came up short. Now, that finish where Pac put him in his finisher, his submission finisher, he held on. I enjoyed this. I was like, man, these guys going at it again. But, they're telling a story here. Now, I just think Pac is years ahead of Hangman Page, obviously. But I'm interested to see where Hangman Page goes after here. Pac is somebody that I could see with the AEW championship. So I'm not sure what they're doing or what happens. But then we also had Moxley. And, he had a quick win, squash match earlier in the night. Oh, excuse me. Let me get the guy's name right. But yeah, he had a squash match against Michael Nakazawa. And then he cut a promo, basically said, who's next? You see when I did the Kenny Omega? Nobody else got the gonads to challenge me. And boy, was he wrong. Because Darby Allin said he wants up next. And those two are going to square off next week on AEW Dynamite. So Darby Allin defeated Peter Allen and Sean Avalon and Sean Spears. Now, Sean Spears is somebody, I said this on the last episode, he's growing on me. Now, I don't really care for the mohawk. I would personally rather think he should rock the bald look. But nonetheless, it's amazing what a beard can do and a change of a wardrobe and a change of an attitude. This is the guy who don't be surprised that if AEW gets more TNA-ish and less WCW 96, 97-ish, don't be surprised if Sean Spears finds his way back into the WWE as Sean Spears and not a perfect 10. So, that's where I'm in with that. Let's move on to NXT, folks. So, to be honest with you, I got it on my screen right now. I watched a little bit. Like I said, I was on a plane. So, Finn Balor came out there talking a whole lot of trash and talked about how he built NXT, which he did. And one of the people that was he called out was Matt Riddle, which led to Riddle coming out there and attacking him. But then, as Balor got away, here comes the Undisputed Era. Now, the thing is, nobody knows what's the full deal. Is Balor a part of the Undisputed Era, or is he aligned himself with the OC? Well, as he was leaving, Undisputed Era, they was coming out to attack, but then Keith Lee and Tommaso Ciampa would come out there, and the Undisputed Era backed off. And Keith Lee said, he grabbed the mic, and I have to say, he impressed me. His mic skills right here, like, I was, okay, I see what you got there. I want to see how he follows up, though. But he told Adam Cole, yes, it's impressive you beat Daniel Bryan and held your own against Seth Rollins, but how about going against me? Well, that led to Roderick Strong saying, no, Adam Cole deserves a night off. You're going to face me. And those two would battle, but then you saw Balor come back out there as Riddle was out there, and Balor came and took care of business. But then, all of a sudden, here comes the Undisputed Era, and as the Undisputed Era came out there, they would take care of business, but then that would lead to Keith Lee getting the victory over Roderick Strong. Now, after Lee got the victory, all of a sudden, here comes the Undisputed inside the ring. And you know what that leads to. Here comes Tommaso Ciampa. But then Dominic Dijakovic will enter the ring, help clean house. But now we remember him and Keith Lee had some battles. They had some battles, folks. But then they had to think about it. Do we put this aside? And that's what it looked like. He's going to be the fourth member of Tommaso Ciampa's team. Now, Balor had came back out there, Matt Riddle, so who knows? That could be the wild card. But I'm telling you, NXT TakeOver is shaping up to be a good one. WWE is bringing out the big guns for this. If you think they're not taking AEW serious, you have another thing coming. Think about it, right? You have the NXT roster, the heavy hitters, Shayna Baszler, Adam Cole, on NXT TakeOver, and then regrouping to get ready for the Survivor Series. Perhaps, I don't know if we say this a lot of times, but this will be a highly anticipated Survivor Series. One they get better each year. They do. I would even invite you to check out I think it's the 25th anniversary DVD. I got it somewhere in my library. Really good. I enjoy it. But this right here, this is one for the ages, because you're going to get an Adam Cole, Shayna Baszler, Roderick Strong, the Undisputed Era. All these guys are going to be on the show. Roderick Strong, AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura. Are you kidding me? Woo! But let's talk about the women. Io Shirai and Mia Yim had a ladder match to determine which team would get the advantage at War Games. And just when it looked like Mia Yim, after getting her nose busted open, just when it looked like she would be the number one contender, nope. I mean, she would win that match. Nope. Here comes Kaylee Ray, the UK Women's Champion, NXT UK Women's Champion. And when that happened, it was a wrap. She would shove her off the ladder. She would fall over the ropes onto another ladder. And as she fell on the ladder, that was it, folks. Because she helped Io Shirai go up there, climb the ladder, rung by rung, and sure enough, Io Shirai, or I should say Team Shayna Baszler, will have the advantage. They will have so the way War Games works is you have two cages, you got two teams, and they alternate after so much time. The first team who will have the first person enter the cage after the two initial people will be someone from Shayna Baszler's team. So you always get that advantage. I figured that would happen. I mean, just to break the kayfabe, we knew it was going to be a heel. Come on now. heels always got to have the advantage first. But then let's move on. After the match, here comes Bayley. Oh, I guess, I guess we should talk about Dakota Kai coming out trying to help Mia Yim. Even though, she's not a part of the team, she still wanted to show some loyalty. But after the match, Shayna Baszler would come out there and she would clap as she saw Bianca Belair, Kaylee Ray, and Io Shirai standing on the ladder, just basking in the success that they had just won. But then all of a sudden, here comes Bayley attacking the NXT Women's Champion. Now, I know some people out there say, oh yeah, Shayna Baszler is the best women's champion in the company. I know some people think it's Bayley. Some people think it's Becky Lynch. Here's what I say, and I'm sticking by my point. I don't need Becky Lynch in this match. I want this to be 1-on-1. Maybe that'll change. But to see Bayley come out there now, early in the night, her Shayna Baszler's partners were attacked outside. And, you think maybe that was Bayley who did that. I mean, almost certain, right? But who knows? So, like I said, Bayley won up in Shayna Baszler this time. I've definitely got to say she better watch her back on SmackDown this Friday because Baszler's coming. No doubt about it. But I'm going to go ahead and take a break. I want you guys to check this out. Check out a clip from the Wrestling Realm.
And lost a step? I think so.
Okay.
But not in regards to the business of professional wrestling, because he's doing some of the best business he's ever done. Mm-hmm. But in regards to the product, I mean, week in and week out.
I don't think so.
You don't think so what?
I don't think he's lost a step necessarily. I think he's stuck in his ways. And I think the difference is...
What's the difference?
The difference is that if he gets the right person in his ear, he'll look at it and he'll understand. I don't think nobody's challenging him.
That I don't agree with.
But
I don't think it's the right person. I think it's the right situation.
Okay.
If something bothers him and his product enough, that's going to force his hand to change. I believe he will change.
Okay, I got you.
And the reason I say that is because look at the Attitude Era. Look at the Monday Night Wars. It forced his hand. He didn't want to change. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at DX. DX was constantly going out there, pushing the envelope, doing things they said we had no business doing.
Right.
And Vince would chew them out and say, we're not doing this, yada, yada, yada. But then when it worked, he said, yeah, we're going to go back to USA.
And I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you are subscribed to the Wrestling Realm on YouTube. Make sure you getting all your notifications by simply pressing the bell. Turn the bell on, folks. You'll get notified every time I drop some new material. Okay, so yeah, D just said Dijakovic. I thought that he was going to be the fourth person. My man D said, nope, he replaced Riddle. So, shout out to D, always listening. Shout out to my brother. I'm sending text messages. Yeah. Woo, man, I'm telling you, look, y'all. It's amazing I'm still doing this podcast. Shout out, I love talking wrestling. But, I mean, it's just been so much going on, between my shoot job, I'm texting my boy Roger right now. I'll show you after I finish recording my podcast. My phone is blowing up. Then my mother just texted me. Oh, man, you gotta love text messaging. Even though, I can still sit here do this. But yeah, I gotta give a special shout out to my sister Bree, down in Atlanta, Georgia. I was down there with my manager, Marin. Shout out to Marin. Make sure, no, I ain't gonna tell you where to follow her. If you follow me on Instagram or Twitter, you'll know. But yeah, shout out to her. We was down there. Man, we produced 22 medical videos in a matter of 3 days. So that's what I do. Y'all think, it's not just what I do on the podcast. I produce medical videos just with doctors letting you know. So if you want to give a follow Hopkins Med News. But I got it. You know what? This is episode 93, right? Be prepared. Episode 100. I have a special announcement. So yeah, if you're out there, tweet me. You can tweet me and ask me what you think it is, or you can take a guess. But yeah, episode 100, man. And those would be, obviously I've done way more than 100 episodes of Break It Down with Brian H. when you add in pay-per-view pre and post shows. But episode 100 will be different because it will be 100 traditional shows. So make sure you check that out. Man, what a journey this has been. You know, we went from once a week, twice a week, back to once a week. Now we're back on twice a week. Shout out to you out there listening. I really appreciate that. So, moving on. Let's get back to the wrestling, right? Sin Cara asked for his release. Yes. He said, you know, he appreciates his time, but he wants to, you know, he wants to wrestle. He wants to perform. What does the WWE do? They put him in a match with Drew McIntyre. And everybody knew, every wrestling fan knew, like, oh, you want to ask for your release? Take this, buddy. And he got destroyed. You know, it was a wrap. But I'll tell you a match I was looking forward to. Remember I said I hung out with my sister Bree. So before she came and picked me up, I was watching Seth Rollins and Walter. And I told her, I said, you know your family, because I was watching a wrestling match that I was enjoying. And then you said, hey, I'm outside. Let's go hang out. Went to watch the Monday Night Football game. But, Rollins, that match was interrupted, which would lead to Seth Rollins being joined by Kevin Owens and Street Profits. And they defeated Imperium. I really enjoy Walter. I heard about him, View from the Top Rope used to always put him over on their show. And, I started watching some of his matches. I was like, oh, wow, this guy's legit. Can we get Walter and Brock Lesnar? I know Brock got to face Ray, but that's the match right there, folks. And if right there, give us Walter and Brock Lesnar. Shucks. But, that's it for that. How about this? SmackDown, on NXT, Lio Rush defeating Angel Garza. So this is the match. I was actually on the plane back to Baltimore. We was actually flying over Washington, D.C., about to land. Didn't see the finish, but I saw most of the match. Lio Rush retaining his championship. Now, this is a good story because last week, Angel Garza, he earned the number one contendership. Instead of shaking Lio Rush's hand, smacked him in the face. Then he went out there and took off his pants. He got into his full ring gear, but removed his warm-up pants in front of Lio Rush's family. His wife and his kids was there. His mom was in the audience too. And I'm like, wow, okay. Heat, dare say. But hey, that's what you do. So, maybe this won't be the end. I'm interested to see Angel Garza, see what the WWE does with him. Because, this guy, he looks like he got some charisma. He does. He has some charisma. But moving on. Young Bucks got into a huge fight with Santino and Ortiz this past week on AEW Dynamite. That would lead to Mac Jackson getting thrown through the stage. But, clearly their battle isn't over. I think the next time we see them, the Young Bucks will be victorious. It's very interesting. Very interesting when you watch the Bucks now because it looks like, kayfabe, they've been humbled and they have to really dig deep to really reclaim that we're the best tag team in the world. And I think this is good. That's good for them. It's good for the business. Let's move on. So I was listening to some podcasts and I was listening to Arn. He talked about Survivor Series 2014. Him and Conrad Thompson. Conrad said it was probably the newest show that he's discussed. And this is the thing I tell people about Arn Anderson's podcast. I did not think I was going to enjoy it. But now you get the more up to date. So a lot of stuff you got with Bruce Pritchard from like the 80s and the 90s, the Attitude Era, etc., some of the, Reality Era, Ruthless Aggression Era. We can get some of the latest stuff from Arn Anderson. That's what I'm looking forward to see. Now, they were already working on their third Ask Arn Anything. And he says they get the most. So I wonder, what's going to happen with that? How many subjects, how many shows they're going to have, and then how many are going to be Ask Arn Anything. And maybe it's just easier because Conrad's just had a lot to do that he doesn't have time to prep for the podcast the way we know him to do as far as doing all his research and having pages and pages of notes. I got to give it the props to him because it's a lot for me to just do one podcast. Now, granted, I don't have my own mortgage company where I have other people working for me so I can just do podcasts. But if I did, that would be nice. But it's still a lot of work. I prep a lot of my show while I'm on break. or, throughout the week, because like I said, it's just me. So, I'll listen to other things and take what I want to see. That's how come I really don't want to talk about every single thing that happens in wrestling this past week, or the past week. Sometimes, you can't help it, but there's sometimes like, man, okay, scratch that. What's going to interest me as far as talking about it? Because ain't no point in getting on here complaining. But, so like I said, he talked about the podcast, they talked about Survivor Series 14, and one of the things he talked about was Sting, and this was the thing that caught my ear. He said he would have had Sting hit the ring, boom, 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 take out everybody. But Vince McMahon wanted the drama. He wanted the stare down between him and Hunter, and then let's get into it. So I thought that was an interesting take. But moving on. Roman Reigns, Finn Balor, they were on Corey Graves' podcast. This is a good show. Corey Graves, I think he's the perfect person to do it because it doesn't seem like he's going to pull any punches. He's gone on there, talked about Lana and Rusev. By the way, Rusev apparently did an interview, said he doesn't have a problem with the storyline. I know, okay, that's what you say. Maybe he's trying not to get fired, or maybe he really doesn't have a problem with it. Couldn't be me. He had Finn Balor on there, and Balor talked about being a natural heel, playing heel most of his career. So this right here, being in NXT and just wrestling for so long, and now he's finally getting that opportunity to, he had to take some time off to himself. So I thought that was great. Roman Reigns talking about, not necessarily having to always be in the title picture, but in this case, he's just enjoying going out there, performing, being there with his brothers. And then they even put over Baron Corbin, said that he was not liked beforehand. But now it's like, wow, who would ever thought that they would have been in the ring with Football Tom, that's what they called him. He would have been main event shows with him. He would have laughed at him. He talked about his Applebee's or Friday's outfit. Baron Corbin has grew on me. He went from being a person that I did not want to see on my television. He was essentially the New England Patriots. But now to me he's become the Pittsburgh Steelers, where I want to see him on there and I want to see him get beat. So I wonder how you guys feel about that. I was looking at this Brunson character on NXT, and man, he reminds me of Earthquake. I think it's just the gear, the way his gear is. So it's time. You know what we're going to do? We haven't done this in a while. It's time for Wrestling for the Culture. It's time for Wrestling for the Culture, where we take a look inside to see what the wrestlers of color have been doing this week. Wrestling for the Culture. This week, we'll go back, bring you Black Gold presented by the Black Wrestling Alliance on Instagram. Make sure you follow my guy, A Dazzle. All right, so before we actually get into the... No, you know what? We're going to do the Black Gold first. Yeah, we'll start with the Black Gold because I see there's some exclusive news from Black Wrestling Alliance, which we will address as well. So first, we start off with Chris Bay continue to rack up championships in 2019 by winning the Zealot Pro Wrestling Championship. Followed by Tyree Taylor is the new Bronx Wrestling Federation 5-borough champion and a U.S. champion. So he's a part of a New York faction, a formed New York faction, Prolific. So congratulations to him. And then we move on. WWA4's Liam Gray and Adrian Alanis become the new Full Impact Pro Tag Team Champions. And then rounding off the Black Gold segment, Owen Travers has become a 2-time Arizona Wrestling Federation Unleashed champion. Congratulations to him. He dedicated this victory to his dad, who he lost due to cancer. So, my prayers and prayers of comfort go out to him. And I just say, man, keep making your dad proud. So, actually, we got some more Black Gold. We have MLW has crowned a new middleweight champion. Myron Reed, folks, captured his first major singles championship as he defeated Teddy Hart. I got to get back on MLW. It's been a while since I watched it. And then Savannah Evans becomes the new Platinum Pro Wrestling Starlight champion. And as A Dazzle says, the most decorated black female of 2019, having won 5 titles. And then the Rep have become the 2-time Capital Wrestling Tag Team Champions. They are also a 2-time CZW Tag Team Champions and a former 2-time New York Wrestling Connection Tag Team Champions. And shout out to Willow Nightingale, as she and Solo Darling have become, they are known as the Bird and the Bee, have won the Shakara. Let me see if I'm going to try it. Campeonatos de Parajes. So I'm assuming that's like their tag titles. We move on. A-Buck is the new Unite X Conquer European Champion. First championship since 2017. And then Rache Chanel, formerly known as Raquel Vaughn, is now a 2-time SOAR Championship Wrestling Women's Champion. And then we have Frontman Job becomes the new Showtime Championship Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. And then last but not least, and this is rounding off Black Gold, Jack Price is now a triple champion, winning the XICW Tag Team Championship. So congratulations to all of the wrestlers out there doing their thing, especially the wrestlers of color putting on for the culture. Now, we did talk about somebody earlier who said he's doing it for the culture. And his name is Albert Hardy Jr., also known as ACH, formerly known as Jordan Miles. And he said, do not call him by that name. And he deemed it the slave name. Of course, he went to, we all know that line comes from Muhammad Ali when he no longer wanted to be called Cassius Clay. Now, BWA News, the Black Wrestling Alliance News, has an exclusive. And it's the real reason for Jordan Miles' recent Twitter burst. Here's what he said, and this was posted on Black Wrestling Alliance on Instagram approximately 9 o'clock this morning, Thursday morning. And it says, just 2 hours ago, NXT superstar Jordan Miles, real name Albert Hardy Jr., took to Twitter Live to announce he's quitting for the WWE. His message was delivered very aggressively with many expletives and calling WWE a quotation racist company. I can confirm exclusively from a source close to Hardy Jr. that he's unfortunately been dealing with some serious mental health issues, the source of which is unknown, but became apparent to some people close to him weeks before the infamous shirt outburst on Twitter back on October 2007. Spells of erratic behavior, mood swings, even hallucinations have family and close friends worried for the star's well-being. WWE have known of Hardy's issue and advised the Texan to take some time off, believed to be around 6 months, visit home and helped him seek professional help. Miles has been away from the WWE Performance Center for a number of months. His last appearance for NXT was in a tag match alongside Keith Lee back on September 21st. I just want to say mental health is nothing to play with. People use the term crazy. They use the term not wrapped too tight. But do we ever know? You never know what somebody's going through, folks. Let's just be real. You don't. So, I'm not one that's going to get out there and say, oh, Jordan Miles is crazy. He has mental health issues and make fun of it. I just say that I pray that he gets the help that he needs. Because that could be anybody. Anybody can go through something. The bottom line, you could be thinking about one thing, all of a sudden things blow up. Any of us can go through something. So my prayers go out to him, and I pray that he gets the help that he needs before it's too late. So I'm going to end it off with that. But ladies and gentlemen, I will probably be recording next week's episode from Philadelphia. I'll be up there for another conference. So if you're up there, you want to link up, DM me at Brian H. Waters. So as always, I appreciate you listening from all over the country, all over the world. I appreciate the support. Tell your friends about the show. Let them know. Brian H. Waters has a podcast. He enjoys wrestling as much as you do. You won't find many complaints on this show. You might find me vent every now and again, but it's more about discussing wrestling. I want it to be a point where if you're listening to the show, you want to tweet me and say your thoughts. I want you to tweet me and say, well, no, I don't agree. Or yes, I do agree. It's fun. Let's have a conversation. To me, the dialogue starts here and it continues on the social media channels. So that'll be it, folks. Until the next time, I'm Brian H. Waters. Now hit my music. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Break It Down with Brian H. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell so you get notified every time the Wrestling Realm posts new content.